When I married Daniel, I thought I had found my forever home. He was charming, successful, and deeply caring. Or at least, that's the man he allowed me to see. Our wedding was the talk of the town. White roses, golden lights, and vows whispered with promises of eternity. But if I could rewind the clock, I'd look closer. I'd notice the way his eyes darted toward Melissa, his younger sister. Every time she laughed, I'd notice how he always kept her close, closer than felt natural. At first, I brushed it off. I wanted to be a good wife, not the jealous type. Melissa had lost their parents young, and Daniel had practically raised her. It made sense that they were close. But soon, closeness turned into suffocation whenever I wanted time with Daniel. Dinners, walks, even quiet evenings at home, Melissa was there. Not invited, not asked, she just appeared, like a shadow that refused to leave. I remember our first anniversary. I'd planned a candlelight dinner on the rooftop, fairy lights strung above us, wine chilling in an ice bucket. As I lit the candles, Daniel walked in, not alone, but with Melissa trailing behind him, wearing a crimson dress. "Oh, I didn't know this was just for you two," she said innocently, though the smirk on her face told another story. Daniel laughed, kissed her on the cheek, and said, "Of course it's for all of us. We're family." That night, I ate in silence, my heart splintering. Melissa dominated the conversation. Daniel hung on her every word, and I was invisible. As months passed, it only grew worse. Melissa needed Daniel for everything, fixing her car, paying her bills, even walking her dog. Every time I asked for his help with something, he'd sigh and say, "Can't you handle it, Sophia? Melissa needs me." I tried to talk to him once, voice trembling but firm. "Daniel, I feel like you choose her over me. I'm your wife. Don't I come first?" His jaw tightened. "Sophia, don't be ridiculous. She's my sister. If you loved me, you'd understand." But love, I realized, had turned into sacrifice. My sacrifice. I began to notice things I couldn't ignore. Whispered phone calls at night, Melissa's perfume lingering on his shirts, the way his hand lingered on hers when they thought no one was watching. I told myself I was paranoid, that my mind was twisting grief and loneliness into suspicion. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. Something was hidden, and it was darker than I could imagine. Once suspicion takes root, it grows like poison ivy, wrapping around everything until breathing feels impossible. I started watching, not obsessively at first, but carefully, quietly. Melissa came to our house almost daily, sometimes staying the night. Daniel excused it as family bonding, but I noticed small details. Her toothbrush in our bathroom, her shoes mixed with mine at the door, a silk nightgown hanging on the laundry line, definitely not mine. One night, unable to sleep, I wandered into the kitchen. The faint glow of the living room caught my eye. Daniel and Melissa sat close on the couch, whispering. Too close. Her hand rested on his knee. When they noticed me, Melissa shot up, pretending to grab water. Daniel smiled awkwardly, muttering something about catching up on old times, or stolen moments. I started saving evidence, text messages on Daniel's phone that said, "I need you tonight from Melissa." Receipts of expensive gifts he bought her, hidden from me. Hotel bookings, under fake names, but always with his credit card. My chest tightened each time I found proof. But I couldn't confront him yet. If I accused him without certainty, he'd twist it, gaslight me, and make me doubt my sanity. So I waited, and I planned. I confided in no one, not even my best friend. Betrayal this big had to be handled with precision. But then, one night, my worst fears became reality. I followed him. Daniel told me he was going to a late-night meeting, but something in his tone cracked. I got in my car, driving a safe distance behind. He stopped at a small hotel on the outskirts of the city. My hands trembled on the steering wheel as I parked far away, heart pounding like war drums. Minutes later, Melissa arrived. In a black dress, lips painted red, she walked in, head held high, like she belonged there. That night, I didn't sleep. My body shook with rage. My mind racing with images I couldn't erase. My marriage wasn't just crumbling. It had been an illusion from the start, but crying wouldn't save me. Confronting them wouldn't free me. I needed justice, not the kind that ends in shouting matches behind closed doors. The kind that burned their world to ashes. That's when I decided I would destroy them both, not with violence, but with truth. And I knew the perfect moment to do it. Daniel's upcoming birthday. The days leading up to his birthday were torture. Pretending to smile, cooking dinners, kissing him goodnight. It was a performance, and I played the dutiful wife with flawless precision. Inside, however, I was documenting everything. I hacked into his laptop, saving emails between him and Melissa that blurred the lines of family. I screenshotted late-night texts dripping with longing. I recorded whispered phone calls where their voices trembled with forbidden affection. The more I uncovered, the more nauseous I became. They weren't just close, they were entangled. Unnaturally, immorally, unforgivably. Some secrets are so vile they rot the soul, and I held them now, each piece of evidence like a dagger ready to strike. But I also wrestled with doubt. What if exposing this destroyed me too? What if people blamed me, pitied me, or laughed at me? At night, I sat by the window, clutching the photo frame of our wedding day. The woman smiling in that picture felt like a stranger. I whispered to myself, Sophia, you deserve better. You deserve freedom. That mantra became my anchor. On the morning of Daniel's birthday, I dressed carefully. A crimson dress, bold lipstick, a quiet smile. He looked at me with surprise. You look stunning, he said, kissing my cheek. I smiled back, hiding the storm inside me. Enjoy it, Daniel. This will be the last time you see me like this. The birthday party was extravagant. A rented hall filled with chandeliers, golden balloons, and tables stacked with champagne. Friends, colleagues, and relatives gathered to celebrate Daniel, the perfect husband, the charming businessman, the man everyone admired. But they didn't know the truth. Not yet. Melissa arrived in a glittering silver gown, her hand brushing Daniel's arm, as though she were the wife instead of me. Guests whispered about how close they were, but no one dared question it aloud. I moved gracefully among the crowd, hugging guests, smiling, offering champagne. But my eyes never left Daniel and Melissa. When the cake was brought out, cameras flashed. Daniel held the knife, Melissa clung to his arm, and I stood beside them, calm as ever. After the cake cutting, I tapped my glass with a spoon. Ting, ting, ting. The hall fell silent. Ladies and gentlemen, I began, my voice steady. Before we raise our glasses to Daniel, I'd like to share something special, a glimpse into the life behind these smiles. The lights dimmed, a projector screen lit up. Gasps echoed as the first slide appeared. Text messages between Daniel and Melissa, words too intimate for siblings. Then came the emails, the hotel receipts, the recordings. Each piece played like a dagger thrown into the crowd's silence. Melissa's face turned pale. Daniel stammered, rushing forward to stop me, but the evidence was undeniable. The final slide froze on the screen. A picture of Daniel and Melissa entering the hotel together. The room erupted, whispers, gasps, shocked faces everywhere. I looked at Daniel, his face red with shame, and said loudly, "You chose her over me. On your birthday, let everyone see what you really are." The party disintegrated into chaos. Guests whispered like a rising storm. Phones captured everything. And within minutes, the scandal began spreading online. Daniel reached for me, his voice shaking. "Sophia, please, let me explain." I stepped back, eyes cold. "There's nothing left to explain. I gave you my heart, and you shattered it with lies." Melissa tried to defend herself, but her voice cracked under the weight of truth. People avoided her like she carried a disease. By the end of the night, Daniel had lost everything: his reputation, his friends, his carefully crafted image. The man who once stood on a pedestal now knelt in disgrace. As for me, I walked out of that hall with my head held high, heels clicking against the marble floor like a victory march. I didn't cry. I didn't look back. The next morning, headlines screamed the scandal. Social media exploded. Hashtags trended. Daniel and Melissa became symbols of betrayal and disgrace. And me, I became the woman who refused to be silenced. Weeks later, I signed the divorce papers. Freedom felt lighter than any love I'd ever known. I moved into a new apartment, redecorated it with colors I loved, and placed one new photo frame on my desk. A picture of me, laughing alone, stronger than ever. For the first time, I didn't need Daniel. I didn't need revenge to feel whole. I had chosen myself, and that, I realized, was the sweetest victory of all.